On this episode of Translogic, us humans get a little mechanical assistance. Robots are developed to help mankind survive disasters. A tank-like wheelchair brings the great outdoors a little closer, and an artificial limb puts the action back in action sports. Welcome to Translogic. I'm Jonathon Buckley. In 2013, the Darpa Robotics Challenge was initiated to get teams from all over the world to build robots that could help out in a disaster scenario. Flash forward to today, and we're here at the finals with millions of dollars up for grabs. So let's forget about the robot apocalypse for just a second and focus on how it is that robots could actually help the human race. How excited are you being here today?
This place that you see in this hangar, this is a special place. All around the world, all the cutting-edge technology, not only the technology, but the people, the brains behind it, they are all here.
So tell us, DARPA, it's a bit of a mouthful. What's the definition of DARPA?
So DARPA is a government organization. It's the research wing of the Department of Defense. So if you think about all the crazy technology like stealth, even the internet or the GPS, all of this came from DARPA projects.
Well, tell us a little bit about the challenge, because obviously it started in 2013. It was designed by DARPA to help people come together and build robots that would help out in disaster scenarios.
2.5 years ago in Japan, the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant accident, a lot of people died. It was a really disaster. And it's a really sad situation. Experts say that in the first 24 hours, if somebody could have just opened one valve, we could have prevented everything. But because of the radiation, people cannot go. So what do? We develop robots to do that. So we're really developing technology to save lives.
$2 million on the line, prize money for first place, $1 million for second, and $500,000 for third.
However, if you talk to people, nobody's really doing it for the money. So this is different from a regular sporting competition. So it's not really competing against each other. It's challenging the big problem of developing technology.
I'm here with Doug Stephen, a researcher at IHMC Robotics. You guys have been competing pretty strongly over the last couple of days, haven't you? But you had a little bit of a fall.
We did, yeah. We fell twice yesterday.
Bummer.
But the robot seems to be in one piece.
That's good.
We're shaking it out, no permanent damage. Hopefully put up a better run today than we did yesterday.
I have to ask, what approximately does it cost to get a robot off the ground?
In terms of the money, it's a little bit difficult to say. I can talk about the material cost, but really, there's a much more money goes into it. The labor cost, the time and effort that we put in. Of course, student labor free.
I was gonna say, that helps a little bit.
Yeah, so it's difficult to really put cost on the robot itself, but these robots in the future will save people's lives. Literally, it's priceless.
When it comes to software, which is what you guys specialize in, is there one particular style of software, or do you just develop it from the ground up?
For us, we develop it from the ground up. There are things we take for granted because we don't really think about them when we do them. We just it's kind of automatic, you know? And so it's trying to figure out how to describe those processes. How do you not fall down when you're walking? How do you not fall down if you push your hand against a wall?
Well, we're on the final day of competition today. This is where it all goes down. There's been some competitions yesterday as well. How did Thor perform?
Thor, it drove the car perfectly. It opened the door, went through the door, walked up to the valve, it closed the valve, walked to the drill, and when it picked up the drill, something went wrong with the lower body, and the robot fell. And instead of standing up, it actually broke. So we had to stop the competition over there. So the students been working here all night. They fixed the robot, and I think it's ready to go. So we'll see how it goes.
Moving our attention now to Team Thor. Team Thor officially earning that point. We're here, just have to turn the valve 360 degrees.
You had a good drive.
Thank you. We had a good run.
Good drive down the track in the Polaris.
Yes.
And then got to the door.
No problem there.
No problem. But then once you got inside, a little bit of a stumble.
What I think it is, because we always do practice indoors. Here it's outdoors. Beautiful weather, California sunshine heats up certain parts. So I speculate it's a heating issue. Electromechanical stuff does not like heat. You can't always win, but you can always learn.
And what have you got to say to the people that think that robots will take over the world?
You've seen the robots? They're slow. They fall down. We have a long, long, long way to go. So I tell you, you don't have to worry, at least yet.
What's your anticipation for the result this afternoon?
We're hoping we don't fall again, as long as we didn't do too much damage to the robot yesterday. So it'd be nice to get one more point up on the board. That's our goal.
IHMC Robotics, the Running Man Atlas robot, yesterday destroyed the competition in those first few rounds. In fact, it earned 7 points. The only thing it didn't do was climb the stairs. Ran out of time. We'll see if the team HIMC Robotics takes a more aggressive approach and tries to get to the stairs a little bit faster and earn 8 points.
Well, I guess congratulations is in order.
Thank you very much.
That was spectacular.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. I mean, we did still have a bit of a dinged up robot, and we had to take it slow, but we got 8 points on the board, and we're
8 points.
We're happy
that's
about
the
that.
maximum.
That is the maximum number of points, and I think we're the first walking robot to get 8 points on the board.
So where does that put you in the rankings thus far?
Right now we're in second place, but as I'm talking, the top 4 robots from yesterday are running, so they could knock us out.
The second place prize goes to the team IHMC Robotics.
Well, way to go, Team IHMC. I think that team has proven that we're entering a brand new era of robotics. I think most people here today will agree that that's pretty exciting. A little later, the Moto Knee tears up the track. But first, the Tomahawk hits the farm.
We were whipping donuts and a little bit of snow and slush.
Autoblog, the ultimate automotive resource. From the latest vehicle reviews, shopping advice, and ownership tips, to helpful apps, community forums, and photo sharing. Autoblog, where you can research, shop, and share everything on wheels.
When it comes to exploring the outdoors, trampling through the wilderness, or just getting in touch with nature, most of us take it for granted. But for those with mobility issues or those confined to a wheelchair, getting off the sidewalk and down into the mud has been tough. Well, that could all be about to change with the brand new all-terrain Tomahawk. Well, this is a lovely way to explore beautiful countryside out here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Just go straight to and away you go. You might want to put your seatbelt on for that one, though. So I found myself here with Bryce Crawford, who is the president of Rocket Mobility, and you guys launched a product that debuted January of this year. We're here to talk about the Tomahawk. And this is a product that I think that a lot of people maybe overlook when it comes to the world of disability or people who have trouble with movement.
Our feeling was, you know, there's an opportunity here to make a machine that allows people to go anywhere they want to outdoors.
At what point did you realize this is an area that you would like to focus on?
I actually grew up with a grandfather who had a prosthetic leg, and that's really when I started to understand the limitations that someone has, you know, if they can't get around, and there just aren't products available to assist with that.
Well, we're here at home base in Lincoln, Nebraska. Is this where everything's built, put together, sourced from?
The machine was designed here. We have a local company that fabricates our steel. We weld the frames together and all the components.
Yeah.
And when we're finished, we drop it to the ground, test drive it, and ship it out.
As far as specs are concerned, we've got 2 electric motors, 6.5 horsepower in each. That's 13 horsepower total. We've got a range of 7 miles, which isn't huge, but Bryce tells us that there's plans for one that it's got a larger range and even one that has a hybrid version that will nearly give you an unlimited range. And when I say hybrid, he's talking about adding some kind of generator to it, which will supplement the battery pack. We've got a 6-mile-an-hour top speed. And to be honest, it's not fast, but it's fast enough for an off-road chair. I'm sure there are going to be some people that want faster chairs, but for what this is doing right now, I think it's plenty. Straight up the bat, when you look at it, you can see it's a pretty rugged thing. You've gone with the track design. How does that benefit you over using maybe something with big wheels?
The track system is just the ultimate in its ability to go anywhere, whether it be snow, mud, sand, gravel. We figure we can drive the machine into about 8 inches of water and have the machine function fine.
Great traction over really rough terrain, and it even helps you get up over curbs, good dips in the ground as well. And when you turn, it's basically like you imagine a bobcat or a bulldozer would turn. It just turns the one track, which kind of spins you. And when you go forward, it just turns the both tracks. And for somebody who's restricted in their mobility, what a great way to get out and enjoy a little bit of nature. Alex, thanks so much for having us out here on your property. You've got a nice big space out here.
Thanks.
What exactly happened with the accident? I noticed that we've actually got the car that you had the accident in here, and by the looks of things, you're very lucky to still be here.
I was stopped at a stoplight on a local highway, and a guy plowed into me. That hard push from behind just sort of stretched me out. It stretched my spinal cord out and damaged my spinal cord. It's crazy to look at your feet and you know you're sending the right signals, you know you're telling it to do what it needs to, and nothing happens. And
how much can you do now?
I can move around relatively well, pretty slowly. I walk with a couple canes. I need my hands for balance, so that's kind of a limiting factor for me to do much work. I still use my wheelchair quite a bit to get around, to do errands, to take care of my kids.
Well, you've spent a bit of time in the Tomahawk. How have you found that on the property?
Super fun. I was amazed how fast they were. We were whipping donuts in a little bit of snow and slush, and it was cruising through decent depth of snow a few months ago, and getting in up and around hills back in the kind of wooded area we have here. Yeah, it was fun.
What are some of the things that we can personalize on it? I see some different colors here.
We've got 4 standard colors. We have option for camo. We do have a racing seat option. It gives a lot of support for the user, and it's a very comfortable seat. It does come with a 4-point harness to support, particularly somebody that has upper body, control limitations. We've got a roll bar. That gives us the ability to have some rollover protection, plus have a sunshade on top. We can really load the machine up.
It's fun getting it out on some of these hills and getting out into the pasture. I really love the pasture, and being out in the grass is one of my favorite things. So far, it's held strong. There's a lot of weight in the bottom, I think, with the batteries.
Yeah, it feels like, I think it's like 420 pounds, and it feels like with all that weight there, you could go over some pretty steep inclines. It's not going to want to tip over because of that weight.
Yeah, you'd have to work pretty hard, I think, to roll it.
Is this much easier than it was when you were first getting around in the wheelchair that you were first?
Oh, yeah. I mean, getting across this would be a whole lot of wrist and arm pain, basically, and balancing to get over these bumps. And so this is a huge bonus for us.
Well, what do you say we race back to the homestead?
Fair enough. You lead the way.
All right, on your marks, get set, go. What kind of battery tech did you go for inside the Tomahawk?
We are just using standard lead-acid batteries, to keep the machine at an affordable level. And then we're also using some sealed batteries that are completely maintenance-free.
What are we looking at when it comes to the price of a vehicle like this?
A base model is going to be about $13,500. Right now, those machines can be purchased directly from us.
Well, a speed demon it isn't, but if you've got limited mobility and you want to power through the woods, ride the fence line, or even go hunting, then this little beast might be worth a look. Just make sure your Tomahawk's fully charged and that you bring your cell phone with you, because you don't want to get stranded on the back 40.
Up next, the multi-sport Moto Knee.
There is absolutely no way I'm going to catch up to these guys. There's just no way. They are too quick. Action sports have gained massive popularity all over the world. Things like motocross and snowboarding to downhill mountain biking are enjoyed by millions. But there's a certain segment of the population, specifically amputees, that have a harder time enjoying these activities. And that's why, after experiencing some hardship himself, pro athlete Monster Mike Schultz developed this guy, the Moto Knee. You've been an extreme athlete for the past what, 10?
Yeah, a long time. My true professional career started in about 2003, racing snowmobiles. It was my focal point from the late 90s up until 2008 when my injury happened. It was during a qualifying race, first one of the weekend, and I was charging, trying to make a pass, and the sled just kind of got out of shape, started swapping. It kind of more or less bucked me off to the side, and all my weight landed on my left leg while my knee was in full extension, and it just hyperextended it, and just, you know, I've had many broken bones, and they can always put it back together. Yeah. And yeah, unfortunately this time we had to take the next step and amputate it.
Up next.
At what point did you go, I'm going to ride again, I'm going to do something different, I got to get out of the doldrums, you know?
My background with the racing is I was always really into the suspension component, and I looked at my leg as a suspension component because, I mean, I want to absorb shock so I can jump my dirt bike and snowmobile again. And what really motivated me to take that step was learning of the adaptive motocross at X Games. And I got wind of it, I'm like, that's my goal, that's what I'm setting my sights on. The biggest thing is I need to be able to stand up on the dirt bike so I can hit the jumps and absorb the impacts and yet sit down and rail the corners and all that. And so what this knee system allowed me to do was stand up with balanced weight. I wanted to use this Fox mountain bike shock. Fits right in the knee space. Yeah. So what I had to come up with was a linkage system to get the full range of motion out of the knee joint, which is around 130 degrees, so I can sit down on the bike and it doesn't bind, and yet I can stand up. And I need resistance and dampening through that whole range of motion. And we got it all together. And yeah, 10 steps over the dirt bike and went for a ride.
And it worked straight away?
It worked right away.
You've gone through a few different iterations until we finally arrived at the Moto Knee.
Functionally, it's really similar to the very first prototype. It looks way cooler. It's a lighter weight. So the individual will have the socket set up already, and then all of our equipment just bolts onto it with universal adapters. Now I use it for dirt bikes and snowmobiles, mountain biking and road biking, downhill skiing, snowboarding, just all kinds of things. And it's really neat. I've got a bunch of guys on the US Para Snowboard team using it, which I'm on the US team myself.
In fact, we've got a guy coming out here to visit us today, Dylan, who's using your product as well. That was only maybe 4 or 5 months ago. Everything in your world was just kind of coasting along like normal. I mean, you had a great job, you were doing amazing things, riding motocross, but then you had a really serious accident.
I was coming home from work, apparently fell asleep at the wheel, and woke up in the hospital with my leg cut off.
At what point did you decide, right, I've got to figure this out, I want to get back on my bike?
Honestly, it was like the day after I woke up. My brother and my best friend showed me videos of Mike, and we're like, he made a motocross leg, and you can ride your dirt bike with it. Wow. So it was like 3 days after my accident, and I was already, you know, looking forward to getting back on my bike.
Well, you've been hard at work building a motocross track out the back. I'm going to be honest, I haven't thrown my leg over a dirt bike in about 10 years, so I might be Captain Slow today, but I'm going to do my best to keep up with you guys. So we're all kitted up. I've got myself a shiny new outfit. We've got Dylan on the RMZ 250. Very nice. Mike's on the big boy, the Honda.
Yeah, I got the Honda CRF 450.
Nice. What am I going to be riding today?
And you, since it's been a while, we figured we ease into it, so we're hooking you up with my wife's 125.
This thing? Come on,
yeah,
guys.
Yeah.
Here we go. We were just messing around. They let me graduate to a 450, but these things are intimidating to say the least.
One of the toughest things is these tight left-hand corners. Since I can't put my leg down to brace my fall and balance, I was ready to give up on it because I kept falling over on these left-hand corners and ruts, but just keep at it and get it figured out.
So because it's his left leg, if you're a motorcyclist, you'll know that's the foot that you change gears with. So they've come up with quite a novel way of doing this. They've employed an electric shifter, which you control with your left hand. I mean, it must be the learning curve. I mean, there's so many different things to take into account. How was the learning curve?
The learning curve was pretty steep.
Nothing like a little left-hand corner fall.
A little bit tough to get used to, but it was just wonderful. I remember the very first time I was able to actually stand up on the pegs. It took a while to get comfortable with that. It was just the most amazing feeling.
So you've already got your second product out as well, the VersaFoot. What's this one aimed at?
This one was designed for snowmobiles originally. Standing up and squatting and hitting the big jumps and bumps, I needed the foot to flex. What's kind of neat about it is it has interchangeable sole plates, so you can put a boot sole or a shoe sole on the bottom, or you can put a foam sole and wear it inside of a shoe like a normal foot.
There is absolutely no way I'm going to catch up to these guys. There's just no way. They are too quick. Do you think that there'd be any point where maybe the Moto Knee could spell an advantage?
We could make the limb excel at a specific movement, but to make an overall prosthetic limb better than your natural anatomy, no way.
Here we go, tabletop, and oh, hey! Oh, that's awesome.
The knee's around 6,000 and the foot's a little over 2,000. So, you know, for the price of a dirt bike. You can be out riding, you can be out snowboarding, skiing, and all this. It's built as a secondary prosthesis. Like, for example, I've got an everyday prosthetic leg. It's a microprocessor, has a computer in it, and works phenomenal for walking around. But the minute you use it for something high impact, you're going to destroy it.
So with the creation of the Moto Knee, it looks like Mike Schultz has given amputees back what many thought they'd lost forever, the ability to compete in action sports and a whole bunch of other activities. And seeing Dylan out here today, riding as well as he is so soon after that accident, well, I think that's evidence of just how effective this product really is. For Translogic, I'm Jonathon Buckley. We'll catch you next time.